Welcome back to Benisa's Cafe. I'm so excited to have a lot of special guests today. So I would like to introduce you to my first guest of the day, which is Dali Josipovic. Welcome, Dali.
Thank you, Benisa. Good to have you.
Good to have you here. Dali, what you got going on over
Oh, I'm
there?
preparing your coffee, so
Oh
I'm
my
gonna get that ready
God.
for you.
And so we're having Turkish coffee
Yeah,
today?
hold on, let me see. Oh, yeah, it's almost
Oh my
there.
God. Is your arm hurting yet?
Thank
That's
you
a
for
whole
having me.
exercise. Yes, thank you for coming today. I really
Absolutely.
appreciate having you on. It's been a while. It's
Yes,
been
been some
about
years.
5 years since
Has it
you've
been
been
that
on
long?
Vanessa's Cafe.
Mm.
So tell me what has happened since.
Well, 5 years. I've been, 5 years younger.
Mm.
So I'm excited to be 5 years younger. And what's happened? Well, I think our last 5 years, I feel like I've grown
Hmm.
probably, and Um, personally, professionally, spiritually, I would say I've really grown in the last few years. Have time to travel, spend time with family, and just kind of get to learn who I am, what I want, and things of that nature. But I was able to travel. That's one of my things that I love to do. So
That's so important. It's so
yeah,
important to kind of pour back into yourself
absolutely.
because you do a lot for the community
Mhm.
through the services that you provide. Um, so, what financial lesson should everyone know before they turn 40 years old? Now that we're both kind of, above 40.
Oh, I thought we were going backwards.
Uh,
But okay, that's fine. That's fine. We're over 40 today.
mhm,
For me, I think the biggest thing is time.
mhm,
I think time is of essence. And I think sometimes we take time for granted and we always say, oh, I have time, I'm young, I got time. But I think for me, like, no, we don't have time. I mean, time is ticking. So I really want to say to everybody, value your time. Be careful who you spend it with, and spend time with your family, connect your children, your loved ones, because also once they're gone, it's gone. So for me, spending time is very crucial. And I would say to everybody, as soon as it's and almost like I used to hear from my mom say, oh, my parents, oh, as soon as you turn 40 or 50, time is like flying by. So I would say, time is of essence and don't waste it. Start planning for your future. Start planning for your retirement. Start planning for your children. Start planning, because we have to start. I think the main thing is that most people neglect time. They think they have a lot of time, and then unfortunately things happen. So
mhm.
I think time is the time is something that money cannot buy. You
Right.
can buy shoes, clothes, you can buy a house, you can buy all of that. But one thing you can never get it back is that time, and time is precious. So I learned how to value my time as well.
That's a really good one. Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
What do you think are the biggest financial mistakes people make?
Um, I would say biggest mistake is that people don't plan. I think people plan, they plan holidays, they plan birthdays, they plan everything. They plan, I mean, 4th of July, they plan, honeymoons and everything. But I feel like people don't plan about their future. They just don't plan. They don't budget. They don't plan. They just kind of live in today. And I'm not saying everybody's like that, but I think it's lack of planning. And yet we live in a society where everything is microwave, everything is fast, everything is get this, get that, get that. You don't have time to plan for yourself and your loved ones. So I think biggest mistake is planning. And that's where a lot of people are facing a lot of challenges because again, time is not on your side. So now when you
Mm,
do wake up to plan, what happens? You really don't have a whole lot of time. One of the concepts that I teach people is about wealth formula,
mhm,
and one of the things in the wealth formula we talk about money. Money is the biggest thing, right? You got to have a money. Doesn't matter, a lot of money, little money. The next concept is time. Time is not on our side. Click your 20, click your 30, click your 40, click your 50, click your 60. It's like, oh, it's coming. And so what do you do with that? And then of course you look at where your money is at, minus the plus rate of return. And then you look at inflation. I mean, today inflation is like, wow. 20 years from now, your $100 is going to be worth $55. You got to bring $181 with you to shopping.
mhm.
So, we got to learn those things because I think it's very important to start planning and start planning early and don't waste time on that.
I also believe that people procrastinate or they don't want to admit to themselves that they are not prepared. So they just kind of put it off, and they just
Right,
kind of brush it under the rug and they continue on. Oh, I have time. They'll also use that as an excuse. I have time. I don't need to plan for that now. And at some point they get to that point where, okay, it's now,
right,
and I have nothing in order and I'm not ready to retire, or I don't have, um, any, final documents in place, no trust,
right,
no
right.
will, or even, insurance, life insurance.
Right, right. And I think also people allow other people to plan for them. And
Hmm.
what I mean by that, you get a job. Your job is planning, your future. You let them manage your 401k, you let them have if you have a short-term, long-term disability, you invest in stocks, whatever, with your job. So you have, that's your plan. And really that is not a plan, because imagine building a house where a plumber, electrician, and carpenter, they're building a house and nobody's communicating with anybody.
Hmm.
So, a lot of times we're all over the place, even though we have maybe somebody, but we're not really planning in the right way where we're building brick by brick that financial house and there's a common goal. And I think a lot of families too, husbands and wives, they don't plan together neither. And that's a whole other topic that we're not gonna get into today. But I think that's another challenge that we see that is happening.
Yeah, I
So
can agree.
yeah. Mhm.
That's a great take. Thank you. So, what advice would you give to your younger self?
My younger self, what I would say, don't care what people say. That's one of the things. I grew up always it was always like, "Oh, be careful. Shace ludrecht." Like there's a saying in my language, what people gonna say? Like don't worry what people are gonna say. And then dream bigger, dream bigger and invest in yourself. I was always the person that loves to invest in myself, in knowledge and learning, but invest, and dream bigger because sometimes, we because of our own beliefs or where we come from or, this and that, we kind of box
Hmm.
ourselves into the box and
Agree.
thinking, okay, well, I don't think I can make this or I can become this or I can achieve this. But so I would say, you know what, forget about what people say. Don't, just focus what you want and run for it because I mean, we live in the country where opportunities are for everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. I mean, you can do regardless of what. So we can achieve anything you want to achieve as long as you're willing to work for it. So I would just say, that I should do certain things a little bit differently because at the beginning I was very concerned about what people are going to say,
Mhm.
especially coming into financial services industry. It's like, oh my, you go to school, you get a degree, like it's almost looking at it, it's like a downfall, but it's actually a biggest blessing in my life. So
Mhm. Awesome. That's a really great take. Thank you. What is one step families can take today for peace of mind?
one step, well, I would say the biggest step that families should take is to make sure that they protect their income and they protect themselves. That is the biggest step because I realize that a lot of families, that's one of the biggest downfalls because we teach people how to build a financial house. And I think that's the last thing because we live in the era everybody wants to invest, nobody wants to protect. So, I would like to say that we need to protect our income and we need to protect really ourselves because if something happens and we're no longer here, who's going to take care of us? Who's going to be there for us? So we got to make sure that we protect our income and protect our loved ones because we cannot depend on GoFundMe's. We cannot depend on going back to the debt because when you build a financial foundation, if you don't have an emergency fund, you're going back where? Swiping that credit card, getting that loan. And that's a big problem that we see. So I would say, that's one of the things. Protect yourself, protect your family, because you know how much man or woman loves their family. To me, it really shows how much they protected them. What have they done to protect them? Because I can say, "Oh, I love you, baby. I love you, love you, love you. I love your kids. I love you." But really, how much do you love one another? It shows what have you left behind. If you don't wake up tomorrow, if you don't make it home tomorrow, what have you left behind and who have you left behind? Because that is another big, big problem that we're facing. So I would say, protecting the people that you love and protecting yourself and protecting your income. Because not only, God forbid, if we die, but what if we're ill?
Mhm.
What if we're sick? Who is going to take care of us? On whose mercy will you be to bathe you, give you water, shower you and things of that nature. So, and that's something that I would say.
That's so important. Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
And let me add
Okay,
something
go
before you
ahead.
go to,
Hmm.
um, and I think it's a big taboo too when it comes to protecting yourself and protecting your income because we are not taught in this country how to really we protect everything. We protect our cell phones, we protect our cars, we protect houses, we protect our washer and dryer, we protect everything.
Printers,
Right?
and I mean anything electronic you buy,
That's it.
they offer you an extended warranty
You
on
see that?
everything.
And you pay arm
And
and a leg
yeah.
for it. So we protect in this country, it's built on insurance. We protect everything. But the biggest or the best or the most important thing or person that we don't protect ourselves.
Hmm.
You can drive a car has full coverage. BMW, whatever car, I'm not into cars, but whatever car you drive, it has a full coverage. But driver has nothing. Or they think they have something, and unfortunately, something happens, they don't have nothing. So we need to understand, we need to gain that knowledge and invest in ourselves. And we cannot just live in this country, and just live and not really understand certain principles and certain ideas because the country is structured in such a way.
Hmm.
They will protect things, but they will not protect our family, our income, and people that we love.
Yeah, I consider myself pretty fortunate to have that knowledge from little on. Being raised in Germany,
Mm,
you've got insurance for everything,
right,
and so that was something that was instilled into us even as young
right,
young children. And the moment I turned 18, my mom took me to the banker, and we got any insurance and any savings plan I could for myself to make sure that I am protected and that I'm also saving for the future.
right.
So that's something that kind of I've always carried with me. So even moving here to the United States, I always made sure I had life insurance, that I had disability, short term, long term.
Mhm.
I would sign up for all of the coverages just in
In
case.
case. Yeah. Yeah.
And that was my peace of mind. I knew that whatever happens, and that's until this day, I have everything under the sun because I want to make sure that if God forbid something happens to me, I'm not trying to like project death on myself,
Sure.
but like you said, in the event of an illness that will cause me to be unable to provide or support my family the way I have,
Hmm.
I need to make sure that my partner is not left, in a bind and that something shows up for the income that
Yeah, for your
may be,
children. Yeah, for your
or
family.
even for the kids,
Yeah.
if anything. Yeah.
Absolutely. And again, you were blessed to live in Germany and to have an
Hmm.
awesome mom to teach you that. But,
Hmm.
sometimes my parents couldn't tell me because they didn't know.
Of
So
course.
that's the thing I had to learn it myself so I can
Hmm.
help them. So it's like I call a sandwich generation,
Hmm.
where I have to learn, both generations. So this is where, I think we need to, again, some of us, we need to step on faith. We need to learn. We need to understand so that we can not only help ourselves, but also help people who are, in front of us or behind us to assist in that aspect.
Hmm.
Because again, if where we come from, where I come from, where you come from, you don't need that. Matter of fact, when I'm talking to sometimes like, oh yeah, my wife or my husband is gonna kill me. You know what I mean? It's like this is not that kind of this is
Yeah.
watch
They
that
make
in
a joke out
movies.
of it.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
make a joke, but this is of
Hmm.
course an investigation. At the end of the day, put your children as a beneficiary if you don't want to put your but protect the loved ones. You know what I mean? But also now people understand more and more that it's not just about dying, what about living?
Hmm.
And that's where that long-term care piece comes that is attached to life insurance. That people now understand, oh wow, I gotta protect really not just people after me, but I gotta protect me because at the end of the day, you have a single mom or single dad, or you have a single person, maybe somebody who have no kids and never been married or whatever. Who is going to take care of them? That's where the long term care come handy to take care of them. But again, people don't understand what types are out there. How does that work? So education is very, very important. And that's why I feel so blessed for the last 20 years that we offer financial workshops to educate and empower people that who want to do better for themselves.
That's awesome. So I have two more questions for you.
Hmm. Okay.
One is related to finance, and then we're gonna jump to something less serious, or a little bit more fun, I would say. But what is a financial myth you wish would disappear?
Financial myth. Well, I mean, there's so many of them, but I will say again, I got time is one of them. Like I got time. And then I see a lot of people who tell me I got time. And then 5, 6 years later, they're calling me. They're ready, But unfortunately,
Too
it's too
late.
late. They are diagnosed, or they had a stroke, they had a heart attack, they had cancer, they have this and that. And then, that's one of the myths that I will say. And the second one is like a lot of people think again that that protection is too expensive. It's too expensive to have life insurance. And I have to ask, comparing to what? Case of beer, cigarettes, partying, eating out, buying extra picture in the house, extra flowers, extra carpet, extra whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, what is it? It's dollar a day, $2 a day, three, even $10 a day. Is that really, you know what I mean? Is that too expensive for peace of mind? So I would say, time and cost of certain things.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
I want to add too
please.
that a lot of individuals think it's a scam.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I feel like that would be a financial myth for me because I have heard, well, you go on social media, there's a lot of controversy around protection,
Hmm.
and individuals think it's a scam because, I mean, worst case scenario, if they pass away, of course, they don't know if their families were paid out or not.
Right.
But in general, I mean, I've seen it work where families have received
Hmm.
a death benefit for a protection. But, realistically, it cannot be a scam because then these companies would be sued, right?
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of financial risk that they have to take too to get somebody insured and to carry
Absolutely.
someone under their umbrella of insurances. So,
But I mean, again, that's not it's a mid there. And I'm glad you
mhm,
brought that up because, yeah, I mean, I just like last 20 years, I delivered probably about seven death benefit checks, unfortunately. And it didn't hit me till I delivered the first one. Like, that's how I really felt thankful to be in the industry where I delivered to, wife who was left, the truck driver who just today was fine. And days later, he was diagnosed. And I wrote a policy today. Literally, I wrote a policy on Tuesday. He was diagnosed with brain tumor on Friday. And, and he wasn't even approved, nothing like that, and a few months later, I delivered that check of 300,000 to that single mom who barely spoke English with three children. And they're literally three kids are up to 5 years old. And that's where and that was a term life policy. Okay. Now, yes, there's a lot of, they didn't pay, they don't pay this and that. Again, I'm going back to education.
mhm,
Education is education. It's important to understand what are you purchasing, who you're dealing with. Do you understand what you're signing? Because a lot of times people will just sign, 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 but you really don't understand what type of life insurance are you purchasing. And then they're not going to pay. Well, you know what? If certain amount of years has passed and you didn't review it, you didn't look at it, maybe it's actually expired. So, yeah, I agree with you 100% when it comes to that. But again, I will say anybody that feels like that, that's why we do annual checkups. We do policy reviews with no charge. Let's see what you have. And that's a big problem that I see with many individuals through my experience meeting them one on one. That is actually when they think they have everything going on. They feel so proud. They're good. They don't need any services. But matter of fact, those are the individuals, same individuals that really need assistance and need help because they thought they had something, but they actually have something completely different. Or once they understood what they have, they're like, well, that's not what I signed up for. Well, again, lack of the education,
mm.
what is actually available and what is the need and the suitability and, what is there and what actually that person is looking for. Are they looking something for permanent, a temporary? Are they looking to, build cash? Are they looking for long-term care? There's a different types of protection, but I really believe education is very, very important. And so I want to encourage everybody, if you do have something in place, let's review it. Let's look at it. It doesn't cost you a dime to do that, but at least you can sleep at night knowing, okay, this is what I have. I even have people who don't update their beneficiaries. They get divorced or, they have new kids. They don't do none of that stuff. So,
Mhm.
but again, everything else is so important. It's important to plan certain things, parties, this and that and the other, but we forgot to plan for very important things in life.
That is so true because sometimes you sign up for something and you just file it away or you put it in a drawer and you forget about it. You just know it's there and you're paying for it, but you're not reviewing and making sure that it's accurate and current information. So
Yeah.
that's really important
And
to
imagine,
keep up
imagine
with.
10 years pass by and you think you're still covered and you open the drawer. It's like, oh, expired a year ago because
Mhm.
it lapsed, it was only good for 10 years. So again, not knowing is very dangerous. So
That actually happened to me. My ex-husband was still a beneficiary of my policy, about 5 or 6 years ago, and we had been divorced since 2014. So, reviewing the policy with you actually, was like a huge aha moment, like, "Oh my god,
yeah.
I forgot to check this."
Yeah, it happens all the time. It happens all the time. Address change, beneficiary change.
Mhm,
It happens all the time. In ownership too. Ownership change. A lot of young adults, like kids.
mhm,
Like I started my kids when they were a few months old. Again, not because of life insurance purposes. Insuring your child is like, wow, why do you do that for? But no, I do it for, different, strategies that I wanted to make sure that they grow, build their a tax-free retirement. And I want to make sure the cash values grow. I want to make sure that they have, money that when they need it for something else or that I need it, because, again, that's another form of building something for my
mhm.
husband and I. But that was another thing that a lot of people also forgot to give the ownership to their, they can pass the ownership to their children. Something like that happens. So paperwork needs to be done and filed. So it's very important to just like a physical checkup.
Mhm.
I always say we need to have a financial checkup, and financial checkup is very important to do because things change all the time.
Well, that's a great message to close out this interview with. Thank you so much, for sharing all of that insight. If anyone is looking for any financial advice or financial planning assistance, how can they connect with you?
Sure, they can reach out to me with my cell phone number 678-776-1395, and also they can look up my Facebook page or reach out to my office, Dali's Financial Services or Dali Borkinkutak, and just to reach out and we can connect and talk and see how we can help them, not only them but their families and the next generation.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I do have one more question for you, and that is if you sat in Venice's Cafe today or tomorrow, what would be your choice of drink and dessert?
Ooh, well, I will have to have some Turkish coffee, Benisa, and I mean baklava will be great.
Oh, amazing. I just made that today, so
I
you
know,
can
and I'm
have some right
excited.
after.
I'm excited. I was like, "Are we gonna be done soon?" So I'm just kidding.
Hurry up the interview.
But I want to appreciate you for having me on,
Of
and
course.
even though you were interviewing me, but I want to tell you how proud I am of you. Just the last few years to see you grow, to see you change, and to see you develop your podcast, raise your family, and do so many great things. And you look amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
Keep up whatever you're doing. I know it's a husband is taking care of you, so I know that's it. So, but
Thanks.
I definitely want to appreciate you for all that you do, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for tuning in and Vanessa's Cafe. You can make sure to subscribe and like on YouTube, but you can also follow me on Instagram as well as Facebook.